So this week's project was inspired by this old newspaper that I got at an estate sale. I got a stack of them. And then I thought about this fabric that I had at home, and the two together could come up with this 70s style journal, which I'm so excited to experiment and see if I can make today. So here's just some of the graphics from those newspapers that appealed to me. Even the ads I think are really fun because they show like the price that things were at that time and the little graphics of what they look like. And I've always been someone who appreciates the 70s, so I've just been drawn to it my whole life. So of course I got a kick out of these books that I had also with the 70s graphics. So let's see what we can put together today, and I'll show you my process. Welcome back to my studio. So if you can see, the theme is sort of 70s. It's very 70s, except I do have some modern papers, but they are very much in the color scheme that I'm going for. I'll show you that stuff in better detail here in a minute. So this is what I'm trying to do. I am trying to make this this is just my idea. I want to do a 70s patchwork style journal, and I want it to have a little removable bookmark with a mushroom dangling, maybe other little beads or something dangling on the spine. I want to make journal cards and tags to go with this journal, and I also want to make a mini leather journal to kind of go with it as well. And the theme for this one is 70s, but I also want to do one in a nature theme and one in like a travel theme. So I'm going to work on the 70s one with you today and just see how this goes. I'm thinking for the cover, I do want to do one of these sewing patterns onto the cover. Oh no, I already forgot the idea. The cover is going to be in the fabrics. So, okay, let me show you the materials that I'm starting off with, and I'll add more, I'm sure. And I'll definitely show you the finished piece at the end, but I don't know if I'll have time to do a full flip through in this video. So let me get started. Just a few more materials. I picked up these sewing patterns from an estate sale, and then here's some of the scrapbooking paper I had in my stash. And I think the colors work really well together. Also, these prints, I like these for the 70s theme, so I'm going to incorporate, like I always do, a little modern with mostly vintage materials. I'm just going to pull out some different trims and maybe laces and see what appeals to me for this. I don't think those are right, but I'll find something. Okay, let me show you. This book is where I've been getting these sort of images, and this, where they have all these sort of the interiors of 70s homes specifically, because you wouldn't think that this book would have it. And this is the name of the book, Cabinet Making and Millwork. But because when I'm at like estates and thrift stores, what I do is I just kind of pick up books that look interesting, or that I'm drawn to for whatever reason, and I just kind of go like this. And if something jumps out, I take a closer look. But for this one, it was the colored images, most of which I've already removed, but then it was the furniture too, and so then I took a closer look, and that's how I ended up coming across a lot of those. But they looked like this, and a lot of them were double-sided. It's where I got these sort of furniture ones too, which are very 70s. I think almost everybody owned this table at some point during that time. I noticed it a lot in relatives' houses. The other thing I do when I find a book I like is I look and see when it was published. And when I saw this one was in the 70s, I was like, okay, perfect. Because I knew I was going to be doing something with the 70s theme already at that point. So, and you have to remember, at estate sales and thrift stores, they have so many books. Yes, some estate sales do price them a little higher, but they're usually very affordable. And I love this. I like using things like this versus just what the craft store has available, because this is what makes the project that much more unique, in my opinion, more authentic and more interesting. Look at these chairs. Okay, so we're gonna tear out a few more of these because I'm also making a junk journal kit for somebody else to use in the 70s theme. So I'll do that off camera, and then I'll come back and I'll show you what I've completed with the journal. I guess I could show you really quick some of the things I did yesterday. So I put these patterns on cardstock so they can become journal cards. I'm adding just a tiny bit of decoration. So I'm going to put a trim on the side of this one. I did a newspaper clipping, and then I added a little tuck spot here where I want to add some of those tickets once I decorate them. Kind of like just a fun little thing, like you're going to this music jamboree. And things like this are going to become pages. This might go on a page. This is going to go on a journal card. I'm using this like a journal card. What other ones did I do? Oh yeah, this one is a journal card, and this one. So I'm decorating them a little bit, but I'm leaving the back totally blank and more room for decoration if whoever gets this decides to do so. I decided to get the Cricut out and cut out some tags because I specifically wanted tickets too. I just thought that would be fun. And I've never tried cutting out tickets with the Cricut before, but I figured why not, because I haven't been using it nearly enough since I purchased it. So I'm trying to teach myself a little at a time, but I love how it does the perforation on the tickets and how the ends just look. That came out really well. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to leave these blank for the most part, I think, but I may decorate some of them. But I figured I would just do a bunch of them at once because the Cricut is a grind. You have to load and unload, and it takes a while. It's very time consuming, but this is what we have. All right, so I have a pile up in my garage of things that I thrifted or got at estate sales with the intention for journal making. So this is just one of many of those things. And I decided I want to go with the binder method for this journal. And so I just might as well take this out. So I think what I'm going to do is just lay it flat and then trace around. And so I know how big the cover needs to be. And then I'll leave a little extra so that I can fold it down and then go from there. Okay. I figured I would mark where the spine was too, so that way if I want to make it like all one, I might do the spine all one pattern, patchwork, so. Okay, so I didn't show you any of the fabrics, and they're all from around the 70s, some maybe a little earlier, maybe some even a little bit later, but this is sort of the color scheme I'm wanting the journal to be in, like the design of everything. So something like this and like this. These are going to be used inside the journal. But for the cover, so they go well with that. But for the cover, I just wanted everything to kind of, what I'm trying to say is the cover is going to be in a slightly different color scheme, but all these fabrics are from the 70s, and so I wanted these to be the cover. So we've got this, 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 I love this one. That one screams 70s. And this is a fun one too. See the little turtles and rabbits. So I'm going to cut these down and sew them together. So this is just the freestyle part of the process where I just cut random shapes and arrange them sort of like a collage on this outline I have. And then I can decide how, on the sizing, the placement, how I like the different patterns playing off each other. And I go back and refine this again, but this is just my first go at it. And I decided to keep the spine, but a lot of the other stuff I kind of rearranged several times before deciding on how I liked it, but I just get an idea of which patterns I want to keep and which ones I don't need so much, and just go from there. This is as probably as good a time as any to admit that I've never made anything with patchwork. I've done appliques, but I've never done a patchwork design, so I'm learning as I go. If you have experience with this and want to share some tips, much appreciate that for the next project. But what I think I'm going to do is take a picture of this, and it's fine if it doesn't turn out just like this. This is just kind of, if we zoom in, this is sort of what I'm going for. But the pieces are cut to sort of how I want them, so I want to do stitches around all the different pieces to hold them in place. So I think I need to cut a big piece of fabric that can go underneath, like a thin piece of fabric. Then I can glue these on just enough to stay put while I start stitching them all down. You know, I want there to be visible stitch lines around all the little patches, so maybe I didn't need to make this many patches, but I wanted it to have this really patchy look, and I think this is a very 70s look, and this will be cut off, so really this is the design, here, and then the spine. This is going to take some time, but I think this is my best approach. Okay, I got the stitching done, and that took about 45 minutes to stitch all the little pieces and glue them down, so. But it gives the look that I wanted, which is this very patchy kind of, yeah, patchy look. I love that. So I'm very happy with how this came out. Now I need to start working on the inside. I did decide I don't have enough time to do this little mini journal, so this will have to be accompanying a different journal, or maybe I make it and it's kind of like its own little accessory. Somebody can add it on, like with a purchase. Maybe it doesn't come with the journal though, for time's sake only. So I'll do that for a different time. Okay, I think I'm at a good stopping point for today, so let me show you what I finished. Okay, so this is what the cover of the journal looks like. I finished the outside of the journal, and I finished the journal itself, the cover, but I haven't finished doing the inside, so I'm really happy with how you can see the visible stitching, and I had a velvet trim that I laced through here, and I just think this, there's the spine, so they could actually add like a book plate or decorate the spine further. But yes, this is, I'm really happy with how the cover came out. Here's the inside, so we've got that brown lace back here. Then I just have a little note of how many pages I have right now. So I have 52 pages total. They're a combination of lined and grid pages. So I just did this sort of, God, there's like one of my hairs. There's just this alternating, well, I guess it starts here. So lined, grid, lined, grid. And it just goes throughout there. And then I'm going to add in the decorated pages, but I haven't added them in yet. I'm still in the process of decorating them. So then here's the back. And I just carried over that velvet and sort of made these little ribbon ends. Let me show you a few of the tags and things like that I made. So why I like these binder styles is because they're so versatile. So like whoever gets it, once they're done with this, all they have to do is decide what type of paper they want and they can replace it, and then it makes it just so much, I think, it just makes it so much easier to customize. So these more sturdy, like here's a folder that I'm going to add in. I left 3 tickets undecorated in there, and then there's the back side. I have this guy that came from the newspaper, just like that illustrated graphic, and I thought he went really well on that background. That side's blank, and got this one with the 70s furniture, and there's the back. I like these colors together. And I have a lot more of these, but I'm just gonna show you this one, and then I'll show you a few tags, because I'm going to show you the entire thing once it's done, but this is the sort of basic idea. So here's some tags, link on the back. And yes, I have more papers that I'll add in, and they'll be plain, but I'll also decorate a few more, and then I have to do the bookmark. So I'm working on this being the bookmark, which came from repurposing leather swatches, and I like that it already had this, so I'm going to use this, and then we're going to add these onto a dangle, and then I will almost be done. Okay, let me see if I can do this with one hand. So I've got this envelope full of, so it's a lot of the extras I had of things I wanted to include, but I couldn't include everything. Here's a good example. I love that. So, and then offcuts of fabric and the scrapbooking paper and stuff like that. So here's like the striped one. So yeah, this will all go in an envelope, little extras that they can use to kind of decorate and just encourage creativity. So that was really fun. I'll see you later when I have the whole thing done. I'll come back and I'll show you what that looks like.